Well, hi, everybody. Namaste. I'm Alx Uttermann from UCBK, the Universal Church of Baba's Kitchen here in Los Angeles. And today I'm going to talk about the second phase of the Navarathri. The 9 Days of Mother Divine festival that's running right now, planet-wide, whether you know it or not. We've just been through the first 3 days. The festival began the 17th of October this year, 2020. So 17, 18, 19, those first 3 days in the South Indian tradition. There are many different ways the Navarathri is celebrated worldwide, but in South India, 17, 18, 19, these first 3 days have been about the fierce form of Mother as Kali and Durga. And now that we've gotten through some of the negativity that she comes to stir up in us, it's a very dramatic, very roiling time, and then to help us dissolve it, to wash it out. Her nature as Kali in the fierce form is stir it up, get it all roiling, and then help us get relief from our stress and negativity so that we're ready to receive her in her next form, which is Lakshmi. And Lakshmi is a very peaceful, beautiful, gentle mother who will be governing our planet and the Navarathri time for the next 3 days. So that's coming right now, the 20th, 21st, and 22nd of October, which is to say Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So let's go to our Maha Lakshmi presentation. I have a slideshow, oh my gosh. And hopefully you'll learn some things about Lakshmi, about how she's honored during this time, her different forms, ways to make offerings to her to receive her blessing. And also I'll share a very powerful mantra to get the Lakshmi energy, the abundance and the material prosperity flowing in our lives. Good, so here comes Maha Lakshmi. So Lakshmi, she is the Mother Divine bringing prosperity during this beautiful time, this very high divine time of Navarathri in 2020. So let's see, who is this mother? So first off, to recap, who is Mother Divine? Just in brief, I covered this in the previous video on Kali and Durga, but it bears repeating again, especially if you're just tuning in for the first time. Who is this Mother Divine? She is the divine feminine. That's to say, in the tradition of India, the spiritual tradition, the concept of mother nature, the divine feminine, the creator of this entire planet, and that she is this very, very powerful creation force. She made everything, including all the souls and all the beings and all the everything in our world. Different from the divine masculine, the God the Father energy, which is more like the silence, the backdrop through which the mother is creating and using that silence to create more and more forms, which then need healing because, of course, once we're sentient and a little bit separate from the source and thinking that we're different from her, we forget where we came from. And then the heartbreaks and the 1,000 natural shocks that flesh is heir to, as Shakespeare said, arise. Then we really need healing. And we need that love of the mother to kind of repair us, to make us whole again. She also comes in many, many, many different forms, as we will see. So as I mentioned during the Navarathri first 3 days, we were talking to and interacting with and receiving the blessing of the very fierce form of mother like Kali and Durga. The next 3 days are Lakshmi. So here are the 3 major kind of ish forms of mother in the Indian pantheon. There are many. I'm sure everybody's aware there are like 30 million deities in the Indian tradition, majority of which are female. So there's a lot of forms of mother. But here we're talking about Parvati, who is shown in the middle. She's like the nice wife of Shiva, the God the Father. Then on her left in the pink is her color, Lakshmi, the goddess of abundance, of material wealth and well-being. And then on the right is Saraswati in the white, holding the musical instrument, her Veena. Saraswati will be the last 3 days of the Navarathri. And I'll be making a video talking about her when we get closer to that time as well. So because mother, she is carrying the universal mother energy of Adi Para Shakti. This is one depiction one artist's idea of Adi Parashakti, the mother who is beyond all time and space, and who is like the formless form. The Mother Divine's energy can transform into any form depending on the need. So in this, when the need is for material wealth and well-being, who does she turn into? Lakshmi. She comes as Maha Lakshmi. So unlike Kali and Durga, first off, Lakshmi is not at all fierce, mostly. And she is shown as a luxury woman. She's usually wearing a lot of gold. She's shown often on a pink lotus. The fuchsia and the hot pink are her colors, generally that are associated with her. And she usually has a lot of money. She's bringing the material wealth, but also, as we'll see, other angles of what prosperity and abundance really mean. So let's talk about Lakshmi. She's the sattvic form of Mother Divine. That means she's very peaceful, very pure, very sweet, a big blessing mother. Her function is to bless us with the material. She comes in 8 different main forms. These forms are called the Asta Lakshmis, 8 forms of Lakshmi, each representing like a different angle and a different aspect of material abundance. So she's bringing the material abundance in all of its different aspects. Pretty comprehensive mother, this one. And here we are on the Lakshmi days. That's in the South Indian tradition that I represent. It's day 4 through 6 of the Navarathri. And so here we go. What are we going to be doing for the next 3 days? Astalakshmis, the 8 different forms of the Lakshmi energy. And I'll go through each of the forms and explain just a thumbnail of what their quality of their energy is, so you can have some idea. Another depiction of the Asta Lakshmis. They're a very popular image on the internet if you should do a Google search. Why? Because everybody wants the money, right? Show me the money. It's a very Lakshmi kind of statement. Again, Asta Lakshmis in a different representation. So the first of the Asta Lakshmi, she's called Adi Lakshmi or Maha Lakshmi. And this is the first, the total form of Lakshmi. She's supporting the wealth for all those who are seeking spiritual consciousness. So that's to say, like, you need a certain amount of money and material comfort if you're going to then look beyond all of it. You need to have a certain amount of, a way to pay your bills and pay your rent and all like that if you're going to spend most of your time in meditation looking for spiritual consciousness and inner awareness of the source. The second of the Asta Lakshmis is Dhana Lakshmi. Dhana Lakshmi is the wealth goddess. She's the one that we usually see depicted as Lakshmi, generally. Loads of money. She is the money. And she will often have gold coins falling from her hand. Like one hand's in blessing and the other hand is just pouring money on everybody. She is probably the most popular form of Lakshmi for, I think, obvious reasons. Dhanya Lakshmi, third of the Asta Lakshmis. She's the grain Lakshmi. You can see in her hands all the different things, different plants that grow like sugarcane and so on. She is the goddess of agricultural wealth. And that means all the crops and all the different plant things and everything that goes into the food that we eat. Literally, it's a blessing, right, in this world to have enough to eat and to have real material sustenance. So this angle of Lakshmi is blessing that angle of abundance in all of our lives. She's also the ability to enjoy pleasure in the material world. Gaja Lakshmi, she comes with elephants. Gaja, like Gajanana, which is another name of Ganesha. So she's the elephant Lakshmi. And she's the goddess who gives animal wealth to people. So like people who have livestock, for example. However, there's another angle of this, which is that she bestows, is the idea, the wealth of royalty to people, which is to say, like in the ancient days, the Indian emperors and their high officers, they rode into battle seated on elephants. The elephants are associated with royalty. So she's blessing like in that angle as well. Santana Lakshmi, she's all about the babies, the progeny Lakshmi. She's the goddess who gives the blessing of good children to families. It's a great karma to have good kids. right? Not every family has them. So that's considered a real boon to parents to have a really, really good child. She also carries a sword and a shield to demonstrate the mother's protective nature for all children. Veera or Dirya Lakshmi. She's very interesting. My master Swami Kalashwar in South India referred to her as the dareness Lakshmi. And he said, this one is the most important to win of all of the forms of Lakshmi. Like you really want this one in your corner. Why? Because she's blessing bravery, utter valor in battle, but she's also giving courage to each of us, as well as strength for overcoming life's challenges. Very, very, very significant form of the Ashtalakshmis. She is also linked to Durga. She's kind of fierce. So she has a kind of fierce aspect as Veera or as Dirya Lakshmi. Jaya or Vijaya Lakshmi. In North India, they'll say Jaya or Vijaya Lakshmi. But Jaya, Vijaya means victory. She's the victory Lakshmi. That means she's the goddess who gives victory, of course. However, she's giving us whatever we need to achieve success in our lives. So that's her nature, to give us a real victory in ways great and small. Vidya Lakshmi, I believe this is the last of them, the 8th of the Ashtalakshmis. She is the knowledge Lakshmi. The Vidya means like a living knowledge form of the mother. And as the knowledge Lakshmi, she is a goddess who blesses the understanding of the arts and the sciences, not unlike Saraswati, who is another major, major, major force among the divine feminines. And we will be talking about Saraswati on the last 3 days of the Navarathri. So that's a little feeling like that Ashtalakshmi, she's coming with all these different forms in this totality of blessing, wealth, and abundance for all of us in this planet. So here's the Ashtalakshmis are depicted there with the big form of Maha Lakshmi, and also her Sri Chakra, that yantra, that structure there, that is her energy home, we could say. It is the yantra, the spiritual diagram that exists in many, many dimensions, way more than 2, that is associated with Maha Lakshmi. And we'll talk a little bit about the Sri Chakra as well. So this is the traditional Sri Chakra or Sri Yantra, as it's called. It is completely the home of Maha Lakshmi. It's like all of her energy is contained in those angles and in that center dot, the nada bindu, the death and life point, the creation point of everything in this entire universe. This yantra is also the structure of her womb chakra, from which she's creating everything, as well as part of her heart. As you know, it's not so much access to a woman's womb area unless you've won her heart. And Lakshmi is really the embodiment of that. This Sri Chakra is the origin of the entire manifest creation that includes all the Maya, all the illusions, all the smoke and mirrors, and the kind of matrix-like quality of this planet. There's a animated Sri Chakra. My experience of Sri Chakra is it operates in multiple dimensions and it's entirely in motion. It's never a static design. Another beautiful depiction of Sri Chakra. You can find many of this on the internet if you do a search. This is the Sri Chakra from Sri Kalashwar, which was a different angle and entry point into the Sri Yantra given to him by Mother Divine. This is a traditional Sri Yantra that can be found in Penokonda in front of the temple there of the Mother Mahisastra Mardini. This Sri Chakra, so this they took back in the ancient days. This was from Adi Shankaracharya, so millennia ago. And this is carved into stone, literally. This one, like many, is residing in a very powerful temple to the Mother in an ancient temple town in Andhra Pradesh in South India called Sri Sailam. There is an enormously powerful Mother Divine temple there, and just directly in front of her is this ancient Sri Chakra, carved into stone and vibrating with the energy of her structure. Very powerful. So this is a colored sand version of the Sri Chakra as well that was put on the floor of the temple in Penukonda in South India during one of the Navarathris. So the priests, the pujaris, they literally do like a sand painting, like the Tibetan style, with different colored sands and so on, and to create this structure and this energy of the mother. This is a three-dimensional depiction also of the Sri Chakra. If you were to look at it from the top, you would see all the different petals and angles are represented. They call this a meru. It's a three-dimensional, like little mountain form of the same exact energy of the Sri Chakra. Here's a meru very nicely lit up for Diwali, the big Lakshmi holiday that comes also around this time of the year. And yeah, so it gives you some idea of the beauty and the magnitude of this energy of this mother, this Lakshmi quality. This is a Lalita, one of the forms of like similar to a Lakshmi, and she's sitting there with the Sri Chakra at her feet. Lakshmi with the money pouring out of her hands. So how do we get her blessing for us during these days? Yeah, we'll be covering that in a moment. Here are different aspects of Maha Lakshmi. So this is obviously the elephant one, right? The Gaja Lakshmi. These are just different beautiful depictions of her, just to bring her flavor so you can see how she's shown in the Indian poster art, and also like just to bring her vibration and the feeling of who is this Lakshmi Ma, and how can we interact with her? Well, we'll talk about that in just a moment. So again, lots of money. She's got the gold coins and the luxury clothing. You know, there's nothing at all of the aesthetic about her in the least. She is not a renunciant. She's very much in the world, and the whole realm of the material illusion is the domain of this this mother, this Lakshmi Ma. So there's a story. This is very interesting how it ties to the Western mythos. How Lakshmi originated was at the beginning of the creation. There's a huge churning going on of the ocean of milk, which is a whole other story. But during that churning, Mahavishnu, who's shown here behind Lakshmi, he's the one who initiates the churning, and many, many divine things come up out of the ocean of milk at the beginning of this creation, including at one point, Lakshmi comes right up out of the water. And Mahavishnu says, I'm taking her. She's my consort. She's my Shakti. So she's actually the embodying principle of the Vishnu energy, the operating in the God, the generating, operating, destroying principles. She is helping to operate all the material illusion. Who has money? Who doesn't have money? Who has health? Who doesn't have health? Who has great children? Who doesn't? Who have food? Who doesn't? And so on. So she's like the balance point between all of the, yes, now you have it, now you don't, in the material world. Anyway, she comes up out of the water, and this is, or the milk actually, but it's very interesting how this relates. Here she is again with Mahavishnu after she's come out of the water. You can see the big ocean waves behind them. And he's holding a conch shell in his hand, which is usual for Mahavishnu. Here she is rising up out of the waters in another depiction. It's very interesting how this ties in the Greek mythos, which borrowed from the Indian pantheon back in the day, and then the Romans borrowed from the Greeks. The concept of Venus, you know, coming up out of the water on a shell. So similar to Lakshmi, and the whole Venus energy and her quality of bearing, her peacefulness, her serenity, her utter beauty, and so on, is exactly like Lakshmi. So here is Botticelli's famous Venus coming up out of the ocean. Very, very similar feeling, very similar dynamic to how Lakshmi is coming. So it's not that we don't know her in the West, it's that we perhaps call her by another name. And here she is again coming out of the water on her lotus, beautiful lotus flower there, which also represents her Sri Chakra, by the way. The lotus and all those petals is a representation of the womb chakra, the creation energy of mother. And I think another one coming out of the great primordial liquid. Yes, Maha Lakshmi. She's a very special lady. So how do we invoke her? How can we bring her to us in a particular way, in a purposed way, during these 3 days that are her energetic time in the Navarathri? We can make offerings to her and our wishes, and hopefully she'll bless us back, whatever it is we're asking for. We do holy ceremonies during this time. I'll talk a little bit about that as well. Of course, through mantra, there are definite mantras that really bring her very strongly. And the idea is to bring her presence to us for blessing, for healing, and of course, for the abundance on all levels that we're all really looking for. So the first thing you can do is offer her flowers. You can like print out a picture of Lakshmi from the internet. If you don't have a little statue or something, put it on your altar. She likes pink, hot pink. Wow, fuchsia and hot pink. And we definitely have no shortage of pink flowers in the West, I think. Were we in the East, of course, it would be the lotus, right? Dazzling fuchsia color. And they are associated very strongly with Maha Lakshmi. As I said, also with her womb chakra, the Sri Yantra. But in the West also, since we don't have the lotus, we do have the rose, which is very similar to the lotus. And as it turns out, they are from the same family. So in the East, the highest vibration flower is indeed the lotus, and in the West, it's the rose. So if you have a bunch of hot pink roses, you can offer some of those to Maha Lakshmi. You can also put candles in front of her. That's a very high thing to do and a very lovely way to be in communication with the divine. Yeah, this is from a Diwali, obviously some years back. Somebody had a little statue of Lakshmi and they put a little candle in front of her and some flowers, and they put some coins to get blessed by her to create more of those. So you can, act accordingly, give her candles and flowers and make your prayer and ask your wishes to her. And don't forget the incense. She likes the really good, yummy, smelly stuff, especially sandalwood. Sandalwood is associated with her. That's very strong perfumey scent is one that she responds to very strongly. It's true also that Lakshmi in our world shows up in a form that's not a deity goddess lady, but is a holy character called Tulsi or holy basil. In India, it's not uncommon. You'll see in the front of someone's home, as you walk into the home, they'll have a little receptacle like this, and they'll be growing holy basil in it, Lakshmi. And women will traditionally come out in the morning and make a little puja. They'll make some incense and they'll put a little candle in the little like shelf that's built into the stand and make their prayers to her. Every day they'll do this. So if you have a little Tulsi, you can talk to the Tulsi, talk to her in that form. And of course, that can be a daily practice. That doesn't have to be just only during Navarathri. This is a little bit what it looks like in traditional days of a lady in an Indian sari making a beautiful little puja there to the Tulsi. I'm receiving the blessing of Lakshmi there through that plant. And this is a more contemporary, very traditional looking form of worship. So another thing that we do here in Los Angeles, and of course, many, many, many people all over the world will be doing fire homas, or called yagyams, or havans, or agnihotra, a ceremony, a fire ceremony for this specific aspect of Mother Divine as Lakshmi. And we will be doing ours Wednesday, the 21st, I believe, here in Los Angeles around 4 p.m. Pacific time, and we do live stream them. So people can tune in and actually receive the blessing straight from the holy fire and the Lakshmi energy. This is one Navarathri some years back. I've been doing Navarathri fire homas in the US since 2005, I think. And it's such a joy to bring, especially the Lakshmi energy into the fire and have her sweetness there and her kind blessing quality. It's a really good time to ask her for all the materially related things that are needed in this world and that are covered by the different aspects of the Ashtalakshmis. Yeah, powerful, especially the healing work that we do. It's very easy to do through the fire, to see different people or groups of people who are hurting. You know, people have a lot of things going on right now, from stress over money to, you know, physical ailments and diseases, and a lot of uncertainty and confusion and depression and anxiety and so on. And to throw all of that into the fire, to offer that to the divine through the fire and bless them powerfully, it's an amazing upliftment, and the results are pretty quick, actually. So we'll be having Lakshmi in the fire this week, which will be great. But also you can make your own fire at home and with a candle and talk to her. Really ask that form of mother, hey, I don't even know who you are, but I really would like your help. And see what happens. Larger photo of a fire home here, with the Lakshmi presiding in the background. So in the fire, we offer her sandalwood powder and sandalwood oil, and kumkum, the red powder that you see often on the third eye of Indian ladies. It's a very fragrant red powder. And we'll also be having, of course, all pink roses and incense and ghee and all the things that we traditionally offer into the fire. Here is sandalwood powder and oil. She's very strongly, heavily associated with sandalwood. Again, that links to her Sri Chakra, and it links to her, that is her womb, the creation place of mother. So whatever is created from there can be blessed from there, can be shifted from there, can be transformed, can be recreated and made very healthy and divine coming out of the womb of mother. So we offer her sandalwood powder and the oil, and also kumkum, the red powder I was talking about that the Indian ladies will put on their third eye. It's actually crushed vermilion flowers. So for the artists out there who are familiar with vermilion red, that's the same thing. That's where it comes from. So then that brings me to the Lakshmi Mantra. Yes, there's a wonderful mantra to bring her energy directly to you. All her abundance on all the different levels that she's coming with into your life, especially the financial angles and spiritual wealth. You know, the reality of Lakshmi is that she's blessing all the material things on the surface level for everyone to make us comfortable and happy, which is great. At the same time, there's that deeper level of the Lakshmi energy, like what she really can give is the spiritual wealth. But most people only ask her for the surface things. So she'll cover all the bases. But it's good also to keep in mind that she will also bless us with enormous, unbelievable spiritual awareness and growth and even maturity if we stick through it. So the Lakshmi Mantra is a very interesting thing. Why is there this sort of fierce form of her over there? Lakshmi doesn't ride a tiger and have all those weapons and stuff. Right. Here's a crazy thing. In the Indian tradition, they will call Lakshmi, she's kind of, and I hope nobody takes this the wrong way, but they think of her like a prostitute kind of energy, in the sense that she never stays in one place very long. She's a very tricky lady. And you see this, right? In the West, we say, you know, fortune is fickle, right? Well, fortune is Lakshmi. The energy of one day somebody has a ton of money and the next day they're broke. She didn't stay there. She cycled off to the next person to make and break their fortunes. And she is like that. She's always circulating and as it were, letting herself be used by people to, let's say, make a fortune, and then can they hold on to it is another question, because she'll keep moving. Even her own husband, Mahavishnu, doesn't always know where she is. However, there is one character who always knows where Lakshmi is, and that is her sister, Chamundeshwari. And Chamundeshwari is a very fierce form, like a Durga or a Kali. So they have a saying in Vedic India, the gods are fond of indirection. It means if you go straight to a deity, you won't actually get them sometimes, especially when they're very tricky. However, if you go indirectly to their favorite character, to their favorite animal, to their favorite whatever, you have a good chance of bringing that deity along, the one that you're really aiming for. In this case, wherever Chamundeshwari is, because she and Lakshmi are inseparable, Lakshmi will always be with her. So instead of trying to go to Lakshmi straight and be perhaps rebuffed or find that she's too tricky to hold on to, because she doesn't stay in one place very long, we go to Chamundeshwari. It's really amazing, interesting, divine technology. This is an ancient mantra and understanding from India. So we're actually, in this Lakshmi mantra, we're actually talking in Chamundeshwari. And in that way, we're going to get the Lakshmi energy to us. The advice is, on this particular mantra, it is good to do for a minimum of 30 minutes a day, especially if you are in need of financial or any kind of material abundance or wealth or support. So if you're going to do this mantra, which I'll explain in a minute, and I'll pronounce it and everything, you want to do it for at least 30 minutes a day to get the maximum results and to really bring the Lakshmi energy through Chamundeshwari to you. So here's the first line of the mantra. I'll say it a few times as we go through it, and then I will sing the mantra so that everyone can hear a kind of more melodious way of expressing it. Om Maha Chamundeshwari. So we're talking to the fierce sister, right? Om Maha Chamundeshwari. Maha Chensu Lakshmi. It's very interesting. Chensu means kind of tricky, slippery. So these first two lines, Om Maha Chamundeshwari, Maha Chensu Lakshmi, Narayanam Ruta. So that kind of blends together. Narayanam Ruta. Narayana is another name of Vishnu, the husband of Lakshmi. And the Amruta is the nectar of immortality that she comes out of the ocean of milk holding when she materializes. So to this point, the mantra is Om Maha Chamundeshwari, Maha Chensu Lakshmi, Narayanam Ruta, Dhara Dhara Dhara. Let your blessings rain down on me like a river. Dhara Dhara Dhara. Avaham Atma Shakti. Avaham. Avaham means I'm invoking. It literally means I'm drinking. I'm like sucking that energy to myself, like a bee sucks the pollen out of the plants. Yeah, it's like sucking that. Avaham Atma Shakti, the soul of that power mother Shakti. Avaham. So the whole mantra, Om Maha Chamundeshwari, Maha Chensu Lakshmi, Narayanam Ruta, Dhara Dhara Dhara, Avaham Atma Shakti Avaham. And there's a beautiful little melody, or you can make up your own, but the more traditional South Indian flavor is Om Maha Chamundeshwari, Maha Chensu Lakshmi, Narayanam Ruta, Dhara Dhara Dhara, Avaham Atma Shakti Avaham. Yeah. Good. So, and again, it's recommended if you're in need of any of the kind of wealth, whether it's gross material or subtle spiritual, it doesn't really matter, but 30 minutes a day is the suggested way to do this mantra to get the maximum results. I'll sing it one more time. Om Maha Chamundeshwari, Maha Chensu Lakshmi, Narayanam Ruta, Dhara Dhara Dhara, Avaham Atma Shakti Avaham. And then she shows up. And then you get all the blessing. Yeah. And we will actually be doing this Lakshmi mantra, this Chamundeshwari, through our fire homa on Wednesday here in Los Angeles to really bring very strongly the Lakshmi energy to everybody. Here's a great quote from Swami Kaleshwar on the subject of Lakshmi and on the subject of her relationship with money and our relationship with money. Money is a karma. It is it is illusion, it is testing, and it is Shakti. It means power, force. It is God's money, and you are the temporary caretaker. Use it to do good works. Dharma, your mission, your soul mission, what you came to do, without attachment. It comes and it goes. That means the money, right? Don't be attached. Live your dharma. Do what you came to do. follow your passion, express the divine, how you came to express it, then Lakshmi cannot leave you. And the Maya loses interest in testing you. Very powerful statement. So we keep an eye on it. It comes, it goes, but that's not our primary reason for living in this planet, I hope. And yet, if you're putting your life in a good way, and if you're using the money for good purposes to help others, really, then it's always flowing. Yeah. Good. Well, so concludes our program on Maha Lakshmi. Hope you have a great next 3 days, today, tomorrow, and the next day, in this Navarathri cycle of the days of Lakshmi, receiving all her blessing and her benevolence and her generosity on the physical level. And yeah, hope you all have a great time with Navarathri, and we will be back again with videos on Saraswati, the last 3 days of the Navarathri, and also on the final day, Dasara, to explain about that and give you some idea how to approach Saraswati and how to approach Dasara as well. But for the next 3 days, we're all about the luxury lady, Maha Lakshmi. So have a great Navarathri, everybody. And you can, of course, join us at ucbk.org to find out our activities or sign up to watch the homas online. And thank you so much for being here and for enjoying this energy and the fragrance and the flavor of Maha Lakshmi. And if you're watching this on YouTube, yes, subscribe to our channel, because then you'll be apprised of more videos as they come. Thank you so much. And happy Navarathri again. And see you all very, very soon.